The full moon hung heavy over the dense forest, casting silvery shadows that danced over the mossy ground. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, a scent that always brought a strange calm to the creatures of the night, except tonight. It brought turmoil. Alara's heart pounded in her chest as she stepped away from the clearing. The words still echoed in her mind, sharp as a fang. I can't choose you. You're not what I need. The man she had loved, the man she thought might be her mate, had turned her away with a coldness she hadn't expected. Behind her, the howl of the wolves in the distance felt like the forest mourning her pain. She wrapped her cloak tighter around her shoulders and quickened her pace, trying to escape the sting of rejection. But no matter how fast she walked, she felt eyes burning into her back. Eyes filled with fury, pain, and something she couldn't yet name. And then she heard it, a growl low and terrifying, vibrating through the ground beneath her feet. The Alpha King had arrived. Kalen, the leader of the Silverfang pack, a man whose mere presence could command silence and obedience alike, was standing at the edge of the clearing, his eyes blazing like molten gold. Alara started to speak, but her voice caught in her throat. He didn't move at first, just stood there, a shadow against the pale moonlight, his hands curled into fists, jaw tight with barely contained rage. The pack members behind him sensed it too. They lowered their heads and pressed their ears back, knowing instinctively that their alpha's fury was unlike anything they had ever witnessed. Seconds stretched into an eternity, and then it happened. Kalen's roar shattered the night. Trees shivered in the sound of his anger, and even the wolves closest to him flinched. Forest seemed to hold its breath as the earth itself trembled. Alara froze, her own fear mingling with something else, a strange pull she couldn't resist. Though he had rejected her seconds before, something in the depth of his rage told her that this was no ordinary anger. This was protectiveness, desire, and a claim she couldn't yet comprehend. Don't walk away from me again. Kalen's voice rumbled, softer now but still dangerously magnetic, threading through the night air and wrapping around her like a leash she couldn't escape. Alara's knees weakened. Every step she had taken to distance herself from him had brought her closer to something she had never expected. The undeniable truth that her heart still belonged to the Alpha King, no matter his rejection. But before she could react, he was there between her and the darkness of the forest, his golden eyes searing into hers, a storm of emotion that threatened to consume them both. You will not leave until I am done with you, Kalen said, his voice now a whisper, but filled with an unspoken power that left no room for argument. Alara wanted to fight, to step back, but her instincts betrayed her. She felt herself being drawn to him, helpless under the weight of his presence, as the pack around them shifted uneasily. The air was electric, charged with tension, anticipation, and the raw, wild scent of something untamed. For the first time, Alara understood this was not just anger. This was a claim, a warning, and perhaps a confession she could not yet hear. And in the stillness of that moonlit forest, the first thread of their fated connection began to weave itself, unrelenting and unstoppable. The forest was alive with a tension so thick it could almost be touched. Alara stood frozen, her chest heaving, cloak tangled around her like a desperate shield against the storm of golden eyes that held her captive. Kalen's presence was overwhelming, his power radiating in waves that made her pulse race and her mind reel. Do you think I will let you leave me so easily? Kalen's voice was deep, smooth, and laced with danger. The growl that followed it made even the wolves in the clearing whimper and lower their heads. Alara's hand tightened around the edge of her cloak. I can't stay, she whispered, trying to convince herself as much as him. You rejected me. You said I'm not what you need. Kalen stepped closer, each stride deliberate, predatory. The ground seemed to tremble beneath his weight, and with every step, the forest grew darker, shadows twisting around him, as if even the trees obeyed him. You think my words mean what you think they mean. His voice was low now, almost a growl, and it carried an undercurrent of something fierce and unbearable. I didn't reject you, Alara. I warned you. Alara's breath caught. Warned me. What are you talking about? Kalen's gaze softened for the briefest second, a flicker of vulnerability beneath the fire. Then it was gone, replaced by the storm that had defined him since birth. I warned you that walking away from me would be dangerous, that no one else will protect you if you run into the wrong hands. The hairs on the back of Alira's neck stood on end. She had always known Kaelin's reputation, Alpha King of the Silverfang pack, feared, untouchable, and lethal. But up close in the moonlight, the danger was intoxicating, and so was the intensity of his gaze. You, she began, but he cut her off. You do not get to run from this, not from me, not from what binds us. His hand shot out, grabbing hers with a grip that was firm, unyielding, and somehow comforting. The shock of contact sent shivers racing up her arm. I don't understand. Alira stammered, her heart hammering in her chest. Why me? There are others stronger, braver, more suitable. Kaelin's jaw tightened, and his eyes flashed with a golden fire that could ignite the very forest. Suitable, he spat. No one is suitable for me. But you, his voice softened, dangerously low. You are mine, whether you know it or not. Alira's knees threatened to buckle. His words, so fierce and possessive, made every instinct scream both warning and temptation. She wanted to pull away to flee, yet something in her core, the pull of fate, the undeniable magnetism of his presence, kept her rooted to the spot. Before she could react, a sudden movement in the trees caught her eye. Another wolf, massive and snarling, stepped into the clearing. A rogue, a threat to the Silverfang pack. Instantly, Kaelin's entire aura shifted. His anger became a weapon, lethal and precise. With a single motion, he shifted, his body glowing with the golden shimmer of his alpha form. His wolf growl echoed like thunder, and the rogue froze, recognizing the power it faced. Kaelin's roar split the night, and in that instant, Alira understood fully. This was a man who would move heaven and earth for what he claimed as his own. The rogue fled, disappearing into the shadows, leaving Kaelin standing over Alira, chest heaving, eyes still ablaze. Slowly he knelt to her level, his face inches from hers, and whispered, "Do you finally understand? You cannot run from me, Alira. You belong to me." Alira's breath hitched. Her heart ached, but not with fear. This was something far deeper. A pulse that matched his own. A pull she could no longer deny. The moonlight caught the edges of Kaelin's features, sharp, golden, dangerous. And in that moment, Alira realized the truth she had been running from. Her rejection had been meaningless. Her fate had been sealed the moment their eyes met, and no force on earth, or in the supernatural world, could undo what was already theirs. Her knees finally gave way, and she fell against him, trembling, not from fear, but from the magnetic, irresistible power that was the Alpha King. Kaelin held her close, his chest rising and falling with hers, and whispered into the night, "No one hurts what belongs to me. No one touches you without my knowledge. You are mine, Alira, and I will not forgive anyone who tries to take you from me, not even yourself." The forest seemed to exhale around them, the tension finally easing, but the fire between them was only beginning to burn. The forest was silent now, the only sounds the soft rustle of leaves and the rapid beating of Alira's heart. She leaned against Kaelin, feeling the raw power radiating from him, the warmth of his body, and the unspoken promise that no one could touch her without his knowledge. I don't understand," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Why me? Why now?" Kaelin's golden eyes softened slightly, but the fire behind them never dimmed. "Because you see me," he said, his voice low and magnetic. "Not the Alpha King everyone fears, not the monster everyone avoids. You see me. And I see you, Alira, the real you, not the one everyone else judges." Alira's chest tightened. No one had ever looked at her like that before. Not like she was the only person in the world that mattered. She had spent her life hiding in shadows, running from expectations and fear. And yet here he was, this golden-eyed storm of power and fury, telling her she was enough. Before she could respond, Kaelin's hand lifted to her cheek, tilting her face gently so their eyes met. The world around them seemed to vanish. The trees, the moon, the pack, all irrelevant. Only him, only her. "I should hate you," Alira admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "I should be angry for rejecting me, for terrifying me." But her words faltered, caught in the swell of emotion. "But I feel something I can't ignore, something dangerous. Kalen's lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. "Dangerous is my specialty," he murmured. His thumb traced the line of her jaw, sending shivers down her spine. "In you are more dangerous than you know. You have a fire inside you that matches mine. That is why I cannot let you go." Alara's breath hitched. The magnetic pull between them was undeniable, almost physical. Every nerve ending in her body hummed with tension and anticipation. She wanted to run, and yet she wanted to fall into him completely. Kalen's golden wolf form shimmered faintly under the moonlight, the alpha power that had destroyed the rogue still thrumming beneath his skin. But when he looked at her now, there was no aggression, only possession, longing, and something deeper, something terrifying in its intensity. "You belong to me," he said again, softer this time, but no less commanding. "No one else, not by law, not by fate, not by choice. You are mine, Alara. Understand that, feel it, accept it." Her knees buckled under the weight of his presence. Every instinct in her screamed surrender. She had tried to resist him, to deny the connection that had drawn them together since the moment their eyes first met. But now she realized she couldn't, not when he was like this, raw, unstoppable, and utterly consuming. Trembling, she finally let herself fall into him, letting the Alpha King wrap her in his arms. His grip was firm, protective, and impossible to resist. He pressed his forehead to hers, breathing her in, as if memorizing every detail of her scent, her warmth, her heartbeat. "You feel it too," he said, a statement rather than a question. "The pull of the bond, don't fight it, Alara. I will not let you fight it alone. I will not let anyone take you from me, not even yourself." The night stretched on, the moonlight weaving through the branches, silvering Kalen's golden form, and bathing Alara in its ethereal glow. Every touch, every whispered word, every shared heartbeat drew them closer, binding them together in ways that neither fully understood, but both could feel. And deep in the shadows of the forest, hidden eyes watched, marking the beginning of a love that would ignite a war, awaken ancient powers, and defy the very laws of the supernatural world. Alara realized, with both fear and exhilaration, that her life had changed forever. The Alpha King's rage had been terrifying, but it had also been the first sign that she was finally exactly where she belonged. The forest was quiet again, but the peace was fragile, like a thread stretched too thin. Alara's mind raced, caught between awe and fear. Kalen's presence was intoxicating, but the world beyond their moonlit clearing was unforgiving. There were eyes everywhere, wolves loyal to the pack, rival alphas, and humans who did not understand the power of the supernatural. Kalen led her deeper into the forest, his grip protective, unwavering. "You must see," he said softly, "that the world will not allow what we share without a fight, and I will not let anyone touch you ever." Alara followed silently, though every instinct screamed caution. She had seen the stories, heard the whispers of the Silver Fang pack. Kalen was feared, yes, but more than that, he was respected, legendary, and utterly merciless to anyone who threatened those he claimed. As they emerged into a moonlit glade, the pack awaited them. Wolves, human and wolf, shifted alike, circled silently. Their eyes gleamed, some with curiosity, others with suspicion. The Alpha's rage still lingered in the air like electricity, and even the bravest of the pack members did not dare speak. Kalen stopped in the center, pulling Alara close. "This is your warning," he said, his voice cold now, hardened by authority. "No one approaches her without my consent. No one questions her worth, and no one underestimates what she means to me." A low murmur rippled through the pack. Some wolves glanced at each other nervously. Others bowed their heads, acknowledging the Alpha's decree. But then a figure stepped forward. A tall, broad-shouldered beta named Rylan, whose loyalty to the pack was unquestionable, but whose curiosity sometimes crossed boundaries. "Kalen," Rylan said cautiously, "we all know the bond is strong, but she is human. Can she withstand what comes with being close to you?" Kalen's gaze snapped to him, eyes like molten gold burning through the night. "She is more than capable," he growled. "She is mine, and any man or beast who doubts that will regret it." Alara's pulse raced. The intensity of his protection was thrilling, terrifying, and undeniably arousing. She could feel the power of the Alpha in every fiber of her being, his golden energy brushing against her like a magnetic force. But before the tension could fully settle, a sharp sound pierced the night. A howl unlike any she had heard before, wild and full of malice. Shadows moved at the edge of the glade, and a rival pack emerged from the darkness, eyes glowing red, teeth bared. Rival alphas, here to challenge Kaelin to claim territory, or perhaps to test the claim he had just laid on her. Kaelin's entire form shifted, muscles coiling, wool, sense flaring. He placed himself in front of Alara, a living wall of power. "Stay behind me," he commanded, voice low, dangerous, vibrating with threat. "This is not your fight. You are mine, and I will not let anyone take what is already claimed." Alara felt a thrill unlike anything she had experienced, a dangerous mixture of fear, awe, and a deep, growing desire. The danger only made him more magnetic, more untouchable, more alive. The rival pack circled closer, snarling, their intentions clear. But Kaelin's aura flared, gold and fierce, his presence radiating dominance. Wolves shifted into combat stance behind him, ready to obey, ready to kill if necessary. "You see this?" Kaelin whispered into her ear, his breath hot, vibrating against her skin. "No one harms what belongs to me. Not a wolf, not a man, not fate itself. You are mine, Alara, and I will fight the world to keep you here." Alara trembled in his arms, knowing, for the first time, that she did not want to escape. She did not want to hide. She wanted to be exactly where she was beside him, under the full force of his protection, caught in the wildfire of his obsession and power. The rival pack lunged, and Kaelin roared a sound that split the night, full of rage, power, and claim. The battle had begun, and Alara knew instinctively that nothing would ever be the same.